Thank you. I wanted to talk about building a second brain that works. There's a lot of talk about building, like, for example, Langchain just did video about the new launch that they had this past week or the week before on the LLM wikis that you can build for your organization using deep learning with LangGraph. So there's a lot of chatter about how you can build a second brain. And the idea of a second brain is a place where you can store everything you or your organization should know. And so I want to talk about something that I built recently that's very, very simple and easy, but I feel like it might be closing a gap that I don't hear a lot of other people talking about. So I'm using Claude almost exclusively at this point, and he's going to roll his eyes. He'll roll his eyes. A few people roll their eyes. I like it. What can I tell you? But I'm also using this third-party tool called Recall, just as a place that I am storing all the stuff that I want to know. I'm going to talk a lot about Recall. I'm not here to sell you on Recall. But if you can subscribe, I'm such a believer in it that I get a little cut or whatnot. So yeah, so I got to talk about it. Yeah. A second brain. Usually the brain sits inside a jar. It's where you put the information, your knowledge base, whatever, and then that's where it sits. It's sort of like I always think about I recently went through my Chrome to look at my bookmarks, and I've got like 200 bookmarks of websites and web pages that I intended to look at some point and go back to. And over the course of 10 years, or however long Chrome has been around, I never went back to. No matter how well I organized those bookmarks, I never went back to them. It's sort of like a brain in a jar. It's there, but I actually never used it. Same thing happens, I think, for all of us, where you maybe using Obsidian or Notebook LM. Now you just sort of put things, you go, oh, I want to know about this, and you have the best intentions to learn it, to use it, but there's just too much. So Recall is kind of like a mixture of Obsidian and Notebook LM. It's just a place to store PDFs, podcasts, YouTube videos, books, like EPUBs, files. I think it takes EPUBs. It might be just PDFs. I can't remember. Blog articles, you name it, it all goes in there. They make it really easy to capture that information. You just hit Chrome extension and it goes right in there. What I put in there is everything I want to know, but I don't have the time to know it. There's only so many hours in the day, and I can't spend even 30 minutes most days watching a single YouTube video, let alone the 8 to 12 that come out on an almost daily basis that I really wish I knew that stuff. So what I've done is I have Recall is where I keep all of that information, all the stuff that I wish I knew. So my second brain is not what I know and a digital replication of it. My second brain is my wish of how smart I wish I was. Markdown files in Claude are where I'm keeping track of who I am, what I'm working on, what tasks I have ahead of me, who I've got in my network that I want to stay in touch with, how I work and do the things that I want to do. So Claude has all that information. And so what I now use, the MCP that's just been released for Recall, is a way for me to connect those two things. I'm able to now connect everything I wish I knew with everything I'm working on, all the tasks I have ahead of me, how I work, etc. So the four things that I'm generally working on any given day: my client work, my personal projects, my test projects, which are usually things that I'm building to see whether it would work for a client in the future. Some of those projects do end up becoming client work. A lot of the projects are failures, but I learn something from it almost every time. And then I'm writing a book. Uh, 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 so those are the four things that I'm working on in any given day. I've got nearly 4,000 different things that I've stored in Recall since I started working with it about a year and a half ago, which means that I'm clicking the living, you know what, out of the internet with all the things I wish I knew. And it's everything from latest things happening in AI, different ideas. It can be productivity ideas. It can be books on philosophy, books on project management, business analysis, tons of recipes, you name it. I generally don't put too much personal stuff in there, but there's some. And then, yeah, to give you an idea, there's about 60 things that I've stored in the last 7 days inside of Recall. So what I'm trying to do with Claude now is bridge the gap. Can I utilize, especially the last 7 days worth of things, in all of these things that I'm working on? So yeah, a second brain isn't just where you store what you wish you knew. It needs to be applicable to what you're working on to have value. So you think about the brain that we actually have, it is how the memories and the ideas that we have in there have value because we can actually apply them to the work that we're doing. Otherwise, it just becomes trivia. I'm not interested in trivia. I'm interested in ideas that I can apply to my client work and to my personal projects. So by bridging that gap between the second brain and those things I'm working on, I'm able to take trivia and actually make it something useful. And I should say, like a lot of the ideas that I've applied here came from 2 different books. I'd recommend both of them. They're great. One is called Moonwalking with Einstein, which is all about memory and trying to remember things. I've got a terrible memory. I wish I applied the ideas from Moonwalking with Einstein more, but I utilize some of those ideas in here. The second book is called Ultra Learning, and it's about how to learn really difficult things really fast. Another thing I wish I could do, but I'm taking the ideas to try to apply them here in how I'm learning. Obviously, the Claude Markdown file, my memory Markdown file is where I keep my active projects, any persistent context, things like that. And then my tasks are just the things that, anything that I'm working on that actually has a due date. And then the last file that matters here is this one, which is this learn skill. So this is an early draft of what I want to do with Learn, but the idea is that I have a AI chief of staff that I've built inside Claude. It does a lot of really cool things, and this is just one of them. And at the end of my day, it automatically gives me, or I can ask end of day, and it does all these cool things like identify skills that could be created based on things that happen all the time. Adding tasks that come out of Firefly's transcripts, all that sort of stuff. But also what it does is it looks at everything that I've stored in Recall for the last 7 days. It groups those things by topic. It takes each card, which is what we call every video or ebook or whatever is saved. Each card gives me a 2-sentence rundown on what was actually there. I'm not going to learn it, but at least I can scan it quickly and kind of get to it. If there is too much information, if I've saved too much, it'll just give me a couple sentences on the groups. What else does it do? Oh, but where it gets really fun is the idea that came originally from Ultra Learning, which is that the best way to learn something sort of applicable to what I was saying about presenting next month. The best way to learn something can be, for some of us, to actually work with it, work with the idea. When you work with it, it starts to stick. So what it does is it looks at, so it drills me, it quizzes me on things, blah, 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 which came from ultra learning as well, I believe. Yes, connection. So what it does is it looks at all those current projects, all these tasks, etc. It looks at the last 7 days of things that I've stored, and then it goes, hey, this thing that you stored actually applies really well to the chapter I'm writing in my book, or the project I'm building for a client, or a test project, or whatever it is. And I can look at it, I can analyze it, and I can tell Claude, add that to the project, or create a task to review it later, or anything like that. And that's where now I'm actually going to learn that concept, because I'm actually doing something with it. But also, it's going to pull up really cool ideas that I thought I wish I knew, and it's going to apply them to the projects. The book stuff actually is where it's really gotten cool, but I would add, really, the client projects, it's been cool too. So that's the learn markdown. Where are we going here? Okay, boom. Okay, so this is an example of when it worked. When I went to the LangChain conference in 2025, my second favorite presentation was Andrew Ng in conversation with Harrison Chase. And really, Andrew Ng, anytime the guy burps, it's profound. He's got really great ideas. And so I was really excited about the 2026 conference. Not that I was going to go, but I was like, oh, cool, they put the stuff on YouTube. I can't wait to watch Andrew's interview again with Harrison Chase for 2026. But of course, like every other thing that I aspire to do, I haven't found 25 minutes to sit down and watch it. But what I did do is, the moment that I saw it was there, I sent it into my recall. And there was something that Andrew said that I would have, if I wouldn't have watched it taking notes. If I watched it, this might have gone right by me and I wouldn't even thought of it. But he said something again that was so profound to me, it changed my mind on something. He said, we can only save so much money, but growth has almost no practical ceiling. And my workflow took that idea and it applied to both the book that I'm working on and a project, a client project that I'm doing that has a lot to do with what I'm writing my book on. And the thing that, whenever I've talked to clients and potential clients about AI initiatives, the first thing they want to know about is how it can save them money. And so immediately I'm thinking, how can I save my clients money? Then the system, the workflow says, rethink this, because Andrew says this. And I go, wow, I hadn't thought about it that way. What Andrew is saying is the amount that of expense that any company has is very limited, right? It may be a lot of their working capital, but there's a cap. They only spend so much money. So therefore, AI can only help them save so much money. It may be 90%, but there's a cap to it. When you flip and start thinking about how AI can open up new markets, open up new products, open up new verticals, all those other revenue generating opportunities that AI can do, well, there's no ceiling to that. So I can turn to my clients and say, sure, I can build something that's going to save you money, but let's talk about how it can make you money, because there's no ceiling to that. And that has totally flipped now how I approach one of my initiatives, and certainly what I'm writing about in my book, on how to think about AI in a business, in an organization. So It's just one example where I wouldn't have thought of it any other way because it was just a little thing that he said. And Claude brought it up, not me. So just to give an example of how it might work. So for example, here's this YouTube video that I'd love to watch, but how long is it? 16 minutes? Maybe it's good. Maybe not. 16 minutes, it better be awesome. And I have no idea if it is awesome or not. So what I'm going to do is, I mean, this channel generally has good stuff, but is I go up here to my Recall Chrome extension, I just click it, and it stores it right into my Recall database as a card. It gives me this cool little concise summary. I'll use that to go, well, should I watch this? Or no, I'm not interested in that idea or that idea or that idea, but oh, I can click right here. It'll take me right to that time in the video, for example, and I can get that idea. But regardless, the transcript has been saved to my Recall, So I'm good to go. Maybe I read this, maybe I don't. Oftentimes, honestly, I don't. I don't have time to read the summary. Another example is I'm still a big fan. This is from my old school days, I guess. Still a big fan of these research papers. There's some really cool cutting edge stuff that pops up in these research papers. So I used to love pulling them up and just reading the abstract, right? Who's got time to read I've never had time. I don't think I've ever read a research paper from front to back, but there's really cool stuff in it. So what I can do is I can either download the PDF, which is what I used to do years ago. I would download PDFs like crazy. I still have them all stored. For maybe I'll read them. No, I'm never going to read them, but they're stored somewhere. Now I've put them all into my Recall. So I can do that and download it. But the good thing is that the whole article is here. So I suspect if I just hit that widget right there, hopefully it will give me the entire summary. And it's all stored to my my Recall. And what's cool is, just looking at a conceptual study for cognitive bias amplification and agentic AI-driven business processes, management, and intelligence. It sounds like it would dovetail really, really nicely with my client work and the things that I'm trying to build. But I ain't gonna read it. It ain't that important. But now I know it because it's in my second brain. So when I go to, so I can't do it from the screen. If I go here, this is what my Recall looks like. And if I, you can see it stored it right there. And like I said earlier, my image on my computer is the second most embarrassing thing on my computer that you'll see today. Probably looking through all of the other stuff I've been storing would be the other thing. You see lots of YouTube videos. Here's a bunch of books that I'd love to read, but they got great ideas in there, I'm sure. A couple articles here from like Android Authority and Decrypt.co, etc. So this is where my second brain lives. I'm not going to show you all the cool things you can do with Recall, but you can do a lot of cool things with Recall. Sorry?
That one come out yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yeah, the video come out yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as I see it, I'm click, because it only takes a second to click. It's good. So there's a bunch of really cool things you can do here, including like chat with your entire knowledge base, which is kind of fun, and blah, blah, blah. But what I like is the fact that they've just recently released an MCP for it. So what I do with my Claude is like, here's my just sort of daily chat that I have with Claude. And if I type learn, now who knows what this ends up coming back with. This could be incredibly embarrassing. We'll see. But I just click learn. It's looking at my current projects, the book I'm writing, etc. And it's looking at the last 7 days worth of cards that I've saved. And then first thing it's going to do is it's going to give me some summaries on all these different items. Then it's going to try to quiz me on something. But the fun part that I think is applicable here is how it tries to tie this second brain to things that are actually happening. So I guess if you're thinking about building a knowledge base for your organization, building one for yourself, whatever it is, I think this is that gap that needs to be closed, where we can try to find ways to actually apply what we learn. I've spent more hours and more time helping companies build SOPs that nobody ever read ever again, but everybody's happy that they exist. I think this is the way to draw, one of the ways to draw all that great information out of those SOPs and apply them to the things that an organization is actually doing. So yeah, so you can see it grouped heavier than usual. So I've grouped by theme. So you can see AI agents, Clay and Claude code migrations, 13 different books, personal stuff on surfing. Quick recall, you've now saved loop engineering 3 times from 3 different sources. Oh, geez. I'll just go, don't know. Let's see what it says to that. But once it has quizzed me, it's going to hopefully, maybe this will be the embarrassing part. It doesn't do what I said it would do. It will hopefully tie it to a project that I'm actually doing. Let's see here. Sorry, it's taking a moment.
Well, Mike, do you have this workflow replicated on your phone too?
I don't actually. Yeah, I don't do much on my phone. Let's see. Yeah, there's Claude Dispatch is just where it was released, but now I think they've replaced it with Claude Mobile or something. I haven't caught up with it, so I'm not sure. And I've got this happening on Claude Code, which doesn't really talk to mobile. Only projects does. See, you already got this. Yep. Okay, so engineering's framing for 3 feedback loops to drive building 0 to 1 products with AI agents, turn my viral, blah, blah, blah. Started using it at the core one you keep bumping into, give the agent a spec plus evals, and it writes tests and iterates against that spec, and so on. Worth reinforcing because you've already built this exact pattern. The AI roadmap book pipeline, which is an agentic system that I built, has a draft, an editor, a rewrite, a jury, and then a jury, and then a deciding AI is the decider. Finalize is a spec and evals loop, and it connects to something already in your memory system. So that's cool. All it's basically saying is you already built something and it's using these same ideas. Kudos, I guess. So that's great. Yeah, so it's not offering any new ideas because I guess I'm not saving any new ideas, but at least it's sort of drawing out and making that connection. Hopefully that is apparent to what I'm trying to do. So yeah, our knowledge bases, our second brains are often a junk drawer. It's where you just put a boatload of stuff that you wish you knew, and that's where it all sits forever. And by actually tying it to current projects, yeah, it makes a difference. Yeah, so stop collecting what you wish you knew, build something that hands it back to you exactly when it matters. Yeah, so if you were interested in Recall, here's the QR code, there's the link, 10% off, blah, blah, blah. But again, this is not here to pitch on Recall. You can use anything. There's a lot of open source stuff out there as well, but just find something that works for you and find a way to tie that second brain to what you're actually working on. So that stuff is useful.
Very cool.
This
All right.
is going to YouTube.
YouTube, yeah.
We'll use Recall.
Yes.
Recall above Recall.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. In fact, it's funny that you say that because, yeah, there's the place that I learned about the MCP was when Recall were kind enough to ask me to talk to them about it. So here's me talking to Recall about Recall, which I put into my Recall. So yes, yeah.